All right, Demetrius Knight, really fired up about him. You know, Al and I were just talking, walking down here. It felt a lot like waiting for Logan a couple years ago and just letting all those picks tick off. But he's a tremendous fit for us, someone that we had an extremely high opinion of. Very thankful that he was there when we picked. Walks in the door, mature leader. You know, so many people we talk to, this is one of their favorite people that they've been around, and just the leadership qualities, the football intangibles, the football makeup, the talent that he's got. He's going to walk in the door and fight for a way to contribute immediately, and I'm fired up to watch that happen.
His age, how does that factor into taking him and how will it impact?
I believe he's got a lot of years of football left in him.
You don't see 25 as too old?
I do not, obviously. not to talk down to you, but no, I feel good.
What style of linebacker is he? What are the ways he contributes?
I think he's got tremendous vision. I mean, Al can speak more to that, his area of expertise, but he's got a great nose for the ball. Again, a tremendous communicator. He's someone that, you know, they got a lot of defenders on that defense that we've interviewed, and those guys point right at him as a leader on that team, and someone who's just helped everybody every step of the way become a better football player, become a better person. And so again, you can feel my excitement with Demetrius. I'm fired up that he's here.
How much does immediately becoming a captain in a place where you just show up?
Yeah.
You know, like that. That's hard to do, to just come in there in 1 year immediately get it.
Yeah, that's part of the scouting information we've got from the scouts, from coaches we've talked to, from players. Just he walked in day one like he'd been there for years, and guys immediately looked at him, and so again, we're excited about him.
With how you described Shemar yesterday and him being physical, and then everything you read about Demetrius, they say he's a thumper and
Yeah.
he's physical. Was that one of your agenda items when you looked at how you wanted to improve the defense to become more physical, or is it?
We want football players, you know, and so all the things that we're using to describe these guys, they're football players. You know, they've got great character, so they're going to walk in, fit in our locker room day one, and their athletic intangibles are they're going to have a chance to help us immediately. And so, again, I just think we're really improving our defense right now, particularly the front seven, and I'm really excited to see that happen.
How important was it to address linebacker, given where you also was address linebacker with the guy you think can play that way?
Yeah, we want to make sure it was the right guy, you know, just not any guy. And this is one that we feel like can come in and compete to contribute immediately. And of course, we're not assigning anybody any jobs right now, but he's a guy that we think has the makeup to walk in the door and compete immediately.
And compete as a 3-down linebacker to be on the field, all 3 downs.
I love everything about this guy. Okay, I'll turn it over to Al.
Thanks, Ed.
Al, what stands out about Demetrius when you watch him?
Well, again, the first thing that jumps out is his character, his makeup, his ability to become a captain in a short time frame. He's the MVP of one of the best defenses in the country. And again, just like yesterday's piece is really, really hard to find, a combo D-end, if you will, a guy that can play inside or outside. This guy is hard to find. They just don't make him this long. He's played at 240, 245. He's got enough length to go to the edge when you want to go to a 5-down look or play some outside backer for you. So that's a pivotal piece for us. His pro day was excellent. Just a competitor. Loved his movement in space. Sudden blitzer, could spy a quarterback on 3rd down. Gifted in coverage, and again, you're talking about, just shy of 6'2", 33-inch arms, 240 pounds, and just love where he is as a player right now.
What makes him the leader that he is? Anything that you found?
Again, the recommendations that we've gotten, you can argue, are as good as anything that we've got on anybody. They were just tremendous in a short period of time, and whether it's strength staff or coaches, and of course our guys upstairs and personnel do an unbelievable job of just communicating to a number of sources. So again, just to be the leader of that defense in a short period of time with as many alphas as they have is impressive to me.
Just in general, were you looking for, I know Zach said keep first part, all that kind of stuff. But an immediate contributor in some place on the back end of this defense.
When you say back end, you mean?
Linebacker, say, or just in general.
I was waiting for this pick for 17 picks just now. We're waiting for Demetrius, and we're very fortunate to have him.
How important is it, Al, to have a guy like last night, Shemar, and tonight sounds like a guy, another piece on the chessboard you can move around? Is that
Yeah, those two are huge, and I know the guys upstairs are exciting because there's a lot of good players, there's a lot of good linebackers, but none of them can complement what Logan does well. You know, if we do go to a bare front or some kind of under front, we want Logan off the ball, and Demetrius is long enough to go on or off the ball, and he could spy on third down, he can move around, so he just gives you a lot of versatility, and if you couple that with, you know, what we did last night with Shemar, we don't need to sub all the time on early downs, and that was important to all of us on defense, and we feel like we've accomplished that here early in this draft.
Given your experience coaching the linebacker position, is this your favorite position to evaluate?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I probably bothered Mike on it. Mike does an unbelievable job, and we had great alignment on this group. But no, I do take a lot of pride in it. I take a lot of pride in, you know, the last time I was here, that group and how they performed and the roles that they carved out, because it's really important for linebackers. You could be an early down starter, you could be a third down starter, you could be an early down and a special teams guy. You know, you could be a third down and special teams guys, but you have to have multiple roles. You have to have two of the three roles, you know, to be a really impactful player. And we want to make sure we have a lot of those guys on this team.
You talk about how he complements Logan. Your prior knowledge and prior coaching of Logan, how much did that pay off in terms of understanding what type of guy you needed to complement?
Yeah, I think obviously I have a great deal of respect for Logan and the career that he's had, and we talked long a couple weeks ago just about, you know, just having a reset your goals, just having a sense of what you want to get done, you know, having energy, having passion, enjoying the journey. You know, he's in a little bit of a different place than when I was here last with him. So, you know, we talked long and hard about what we got to get done here in the short term, and then obviously what his long-term goals are.
You talked a lot about versatility last night with Shemar. You talked again about versatility positionally today. It's fair to say that that's one of the primary things that you like at both of those levels of the defense. Why is that so important?
I think it's important because you can get hamstrung and very predictable if you have to sub every time you want to go to a different look. And it was important to us that we be able to go in and out of looks with the same personnel on the field. And to do that, you have to have two, you know, very distinct chess pieces. And we feel like we've accomplished both of those. And to be quite honest, there's not many of them. You know, there's not many defensive ends that can kick in and play inside and be rugged enough like Sam used to be at 265, 270. And there's not a lot of these guys that can go on the line and battle for you and do some of those things. So we feel like we got a combo linebacker in Demetrius. We feel like we got a clean character kid. He's healthy, hasn't been playing linebacker all too long. So from that standpoint, although he's 25, he is ascending. I feel like we got him right at the right spot in his career, and I'm not concerned at all about the age. I think what we have is a guy who's got his priorities right. He's going to be ready to come in and fight for a job.
How was he slicing two blocks, getting into the backfield and making plays?
Yeah, I think there's some things that we can't wait to work with him on. In terms of his box reads and just. We say getting off the spot, just developing a quicker trigger and feeling really good about that and understanding just being a stimulus response linebacker. So we'll work on that. But again, if you have the length, the reach, the ballast, and the explosiveness that he has, we can teach him how to, tighten his hands up and with his block destruction and how to separate and shed and do all those things a little bit better, especially when it becomes his vocation.
What was he prior to being linebacker?
I'm sorry?
What did he play?
He was quarterback. He was a quarterback. And again, his background, it's not just, in the last 18 months, everybody started liking Demetrius. We went all the way back to Georgia Tech, and how much they loved him as a person, his leadership, his work ethic, and the quote was, he's one of your guys, one of the guys you would like. So I was impressed with that.
How much of this pick was, I know you touched on it earlier, but also getting most out of Logan and finding the right, how important was that?
Critical.
To make sure that you could maximize what Logan was.
Critical, because you have to cover Logan up once in a while too and let him run. That's what he does great. He's tremendous. He still has tremendous lateral agility. He can get off the spot really well now, and he can do a lot of things. And I think, those guys coupled with Orrin, they give you a lot more flexibility than we had, just 20 minutes ago, if I'm being quite honest with you.
Just reading some quick scouting report type stuff on him. Sounds like stopping the run is his strength. Would you agree with that?
I would, but I wouldn't sell him short on that. I think, again, he's got great range. He's getting better at the pass game. I think what his skill set showed me was that, he's got loose hips. He's got the ability to cover and do those types of things. So we'll utilize him in all those capacities.
If this is way off center, by all means, let me know. Tell me that. But like his history of playing quarterback, does that help at all at the linebacker?
There's been some guys that have done that have made that progression. I think certainly he would understand, for instance, I'll give you an example, he would understand just what it means to be high load in a certain zone coverage, and hopefully that understanding would make sure he takes away the deeper one first and breaks on the shallow, that kind of thing. Just the way a quarterback thinks, working high to low, inside out, that kind of thing. So I think that there is some merit to that. But I'm really am fired up about this player.
Zach mentioned that it was kind of like waiting around for Logan. Did it feel that same way?
It was stressful. Again, he was the guy. And again, it could have went a number of positions. You guys, all the positions that we're looking at. It could have went, one way or another with another position. But in terms of that position, that was the guy when we woke up this morning, and I'm glad he's here.
I think you met with Shemar today when he was.
Yeah, we did.
Did you just talk ball, or did you?
No, just more personal. Jerry did a little bit more, just introducing him to, how to get going on the playbook and things of that nature. But just a whirlwind for Shemar. But just telling him how excited we are about him and to have this journey with him coming up and identify things that we want to improve with him and what things that does he want to improve on, and just talking about how to be a pro and how to be engaged and ask questions and, that this is your job now, day in and day out, and he's excited about it and really, really fired up to have him.
In 2020, the Bengals drafted 3 linebackers with great intangibles. Was that kind of stuff, the communication, leadership, all that stuff, a must for you as you looked at linebackers this year? Critical.
Leadership. Again, I think when you judge safeties and linebackers, you could turn off the volume on the set, on the TV set, because you can see how demonstrative they are pre-snap. And you'll know whether or not they have command of that defense, whether they're making the call and getting them lined up just by his pre-snap behavior, how demonstrative he is, how animated they are. All of that, to a degree, talks about his football knowledge and his command of the defense. So that's one. Number two, just captains are important. Obviously, it's hard to lead the Bengals where we want to go if you can't lead your unit. So I think having guys that are captains, and then the versatility is important. And I don't mean, and I've said this before, I don't mean just vertical depth, but just having horizontal depth too. Being able to play different spots, including special teams, is really important. So those 3 elements make up what we're looking for.
In trying to learn more about your defense and the staples of your defense, it feels like the linebacker position kind of goes in waves in terms of like what's the trend, where a couple years ago it was the hybrid, really fast linebacker. In your defense specifically, what are the most important traits for the linebacker position?
Well, I think they're different. You know, I think if you're asking me to start all over, I would start with Logan, you know, as a stack linebacker. But it's always great to have somebody that's a combo backer next to him, a guy that can go on or off the ball, and that just gives you so much flexibility and versatility. So, and then, like I just talked about, just the more jobs you can do. You know, if we're playing 4-3 against, you know, the Ravens here in conference, in division, excuse me, you know, we'll need 3 on the field, a Sam, Mike, and a Will, you know, and can guys learn multiple positions? Do they have value on third down? Is it always off the ball? No, it doesn't have to be off the ball. It could be, you know, you could be a guy that can move around in an odd package and rush. You could be the guy that's a spy. Certainly he's fast enough to do that and long enough to do that. So those are all the things that we're looking for. And then once you get the pieces, you put it together. So we've been holding back, to be honest with you, to the draft to kind of fortify some of the things that we want to do. And I think it's a clear, I think it should be clear to the staff now where we're at and what we need to get done.
Is this a guy now that you envision coming in and being able to, let's say, call a defense on the field?
Yeah, I think, you know, eventually, you know, I think that will be our challenge. You know, again, we're not, we've had this discussion upstairs. We're not drafting anybody right now, you know, yesterday or tonight to not to play considerably, you know, not to make an impact. And obviously, you know, the quicker he can make the transition with the nomenclature and understanding the system, and then feeling comfortable enough to call it. And we'll challenge him to do that, you know, right off the bat this spring. But you know, you can't just have one guy in defense that does that. You need multiple guys that can do that. And I know Orrin can, obviously Logan can, and now we added another piece.
As you think of your defense and envision your defense this season, how important was it to fill that hole with the uncertainty around your main's future?
Yeah, critical. Just, you know, really critical that we you know, have depth there and have some guys that can come in and compete for starting roles with the guys that are here already and have competition. So I know everybody feels like they're getting better right now. I think we've gotten critically better in the last 24 hours with 2 guys that can come in and, you know, change the dynamic of their rooms and push us forward, move us forward, which is important.